Now, Israel is once again in the spotlight over its contentious judicial reforms. A key Supreme Court hearing over the judicial overhaul is underway, and in these unprecedented times, all eyes are on the country's judiciary as they decide the fate of their own powers. For the first time in history, the whole 15-judge Supreme Court bench is hearing an appeal against the judicial amendment which was passed back in July. The court will decide whether the decision of the government to do away with the reasonableness clause is constitutionally valid. Ahead of the hearing, thousands of protesters took to the streets. The reform package has triggered a nationwide uproar. Protests have been going on for months now.
Because today it's the beginning of a process in which the Supreme Court of Justice in Israel is really under immediate danger from this corrupt government, and we need to stop it right now.
The overhaul led by Benjamin Netanyahu's government has plunged the country to its worst political crisis Israel has seen in years. The reforms have drawn months of criticism over concerns that they hurt the independence of the court. It weakens the democracy and encourages corruption. Opposition leaders have accused Netanyahu of trying to use the proposed legal overhaul to quash possible judgments against him. The Israeli Prime Minister is currently on trial for corruption charges, which he denies. The Netanyahu camp has maintained that the overhaul is needed to ensure that the court does not exceed its powers. Critics say that the reasonableness clause of the judicial bill states that the courts cannot hear cases or issue orders against elected officials on the basis of that doctrine. Now, for more on this, our correspondent Jody Cohen spoke to Tomer Naor, one of the petitioners against the reasonableness clause, to know what's at stake exactly during these tense times in Israel.
Judicial reforms say that the court has other tools that they can use to oppose judicial decisions. What do you say to that? To oppose government decisions, I should say.
So I don't have to say, because the Supreme Justice has already said inside. They say we have other tools, but none of them is good enough to go to the extreme situations when the government make decisions that are so unreasonable that you cannot live with them. And one of the things that we need to understand is, if they have other tools, so why do you come up with this law? I mean, what kind of a government want to take this tool out if they believe they have other tools? And the answer is only a government that believes that they want to do, to accept any decision that the other tools won't be good enough to deal with them. And this is what scares me the most. I mean, what is the government want to do? Who do they want to appoint, etc.? That they want to prevent the Supreme Court to be able to review and to interfere.
How do you think the Supreme Court will rule on this case, and could it even lead to a constitutional crisis?
So hopefully I have to say one thing: we're already in a constitutional crisis. Hopefully it will not escalate, as some people think that will happen. We asked the Supreme Court to cancel the new act, the new law. Some will say that they will find a way to interpret it in a way that is not harming the Israeli constitution, but still protect human rights, protect the Israeli society against corruption. But from 4 hours of discussion today in the court, I think that we're going to see a decision that somehow is going to weaken the law, and again to protect the public in Israel.